Hi everyone, I am just a person reading stuff in my bedroom, so you don't have to. I am half asleep and wearing yesterday's makeup, but I am not here to be cute. I am here to read stuff. This is Innovations in Environmental Health Equity, Hard Truths from Hard Data. The father of environmental justice reflects on the movement he created by Yessenia Funes. Okay. Black people face some of the highest cancer and asthma rates in the U.S. Statistics that are inarguably linked to the environment in which someone lives, works, and plays. But until Robert D. Bullard began collecting data in the 1970s, no one fully understood how a person's surroundings can affect their health. And no one, not even Bullard, knew how segregated the most polluted places really were. Bullard was the first scientist to publish systematic research on the links between race and exposure to pollution, which he documented for a 1979 lawsuit. This is before everyone had geographic information system mapping, before iPads, iPhones, laptops, Google, he says. This is doing research way back with a hammer and a chisel. In 2021, Texas Southern University in Houston established the Robert D. Bullard Center for Environmental and Climate Justice, where Bullard now serves as executive director. He has written 18 books on the topic, and his work helped to launch a movement, environmental justice, the idea that everyone has the right to a clean and healthy environment, no matter their race or class. This has been embraced by advocates around the world and is influencing international climate negotiations. Scientific American asked, I think that's the journal. Scientific American asked Bullard about his work and its impact in the U.S. and beyond. An edited version of the interview follows. Your early work signaled the start of a new field. How would you describe it? I do what's called kick-ass sociology. I've tried to pattern my work after a kick-ass black sociologist, W.E.B. Du Bois, who showed how someone can be a teacher, scholar, researcher, author, social critic, and activist. He helped found the NAACP in 1909, the oldest and largest civil rights organization in the U.S., and he did some of the first empirical research in sociology. Your first paper in 1979 was the first to use hard data to quantify environmental racism. What prompted you to look into this? The study was done in support of Bean versus Southwestern Waste Management Corporation, the first U.S. lawsuit to challenge environmental racism using civil rights laws. The lawyer for that case was Linda McKeever Bullard, my wife at the time, as she needed numbers to back up the argument that locating solid waste landfills in a particular neighborhood was a form of discrimination. The community was middle class, suburban, and an unlikely place for a garbage dump. It was also predominantly black. My job was to design the study, collect the data, and present maps that showed where all landfills, incinerators, and solid waste sites were located in Houston from the 1920s up to 1979. We found that 5 out of 5 of the city-owned landfills were predominantly black neighborhoods, as were 3 out of 4 of the privately owned landfills. 6 out of 8 of the city's incinerators were in black neighborhoods. Black people made up only 25% of Houston's population at the time, yet 82% of the garbage in the city was dumped on them. We lost in court because we couldn't prove it was intentional discrimination. It was easier to show scientifically that this pattern reflected a form of discrimination and not random data, but it's more difficult to prove in court. When you saw how widespread this pollution was in black communities, what did you think? I was surprised. I was amazed and shocked. But I was even more surprised and shocked and disappointed that the judge didn't see it. This was 40-something years ago. The judge was an old white man who was calling black plaintiffs in the case. I'm not saying that word, y'all. That's a fancy dressed up way of calling you the N-word. The racial undertone was so thick. It was almost as if the case were brought too soon. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I apologize. I am not going to be editing this video, so you're just going to have to listen to my sneeze. It is what it is. What was the public response to your initial studies? Communities on the ground, the ones who were being poisoned and ignored, started to come together. Grassroots and civil rights groups began to build coalitions and collaborate. By 1990, we were organizing the first national People of Color Environmental Leadership Summit. The industry attacked us. Some of us were sued. Some of us were intimidated and threatened. But we kept fighting because we have justice on our side. A lot of people tried to debunk our work, but they never could. We had to fight with some of our environmental allies. Conservation groups that were mostly white and affluent. They're with us now, but they were not always. I'm going to have to take a break. Hopefully I'll figure out how to edit. I'm dying.